My name is Olivia Thorne, and I'm 54 years old, the indomitable founder and CEO of Chronogard Security, a company that has, over the past 3 decades, risen from a niche startup to a global leader in high-level cybersecurity and digital forensics. My life has been a relentless, uphill battle, a testament to unwavering perseverance, razor-sharp intellect, and an almost brutal realism about the darker corners of human nature. If you met me today, you'd likely encounter a woman with eyes that miss nothing, a quiet intensity that commands attention, and a steely resolve forged in the fires of personal and professional treachery. My hair, once a vibrant auburn, now falls in elegant silver waves, framing a face etched with the lines of countless strategic battles and hard-won victories. Chronogard's headquarters, a fortress of reinforced concrete and encrypted networks nestled discreetly in the heart of Virginia, stands as a testament to a vision I built from scratch, brick by agonizing brick, against every conceivable odd. Most people know the public persona of Olivia Thorne. The formidable tech matriarch, the industry trailblazer, the self-made billionaire lauded for her unwavering integrity. But if you delved deeper, I'd tell you a story far removed from the polished corporate facade, a narrative intimately woven with the excruciating pain of familial betrayal, a story that proved the most insidious threats often lurk not in the dark web of cybercriminals, but within the supposed sanctuary of one's own bloodline. My journey didn't begin with a silver spoon, nor did it unfold in the hallowed halls of Ivy League institutions. I was raised in a working-class neighborhood of Richmond, Virginia, by a single mother who cleaned offices to put food on the table. She taught me the value of hard work, the power of observation, and the crucial lesson that nobody owes you anything. If you want something, you fight for it. From a young age, I was captivated by the nascent world of computers, then clunky mainframes and nascent networks. While other girls played with dolls, I was dissecting circuit boards, devouring programming manuals, and teaching myself the intricate languages of logic and code. I saw the digital world not just as a tool, but as a vast, unexplored frontier, teeming with both incredible potential and terrifying vulnerabilities. After working my way through community college, I landed a junior analyst position at a fledgling tech firm. It was there, amidst the chaotic hum of early servers, that I truly honed my skills. I developed an almost uncanny ability to spot anomalies in code, to trace digital footprints, to anticipate threats before they materialized. My colleagues called it intuition. I called it diligent pattern recognition and a healthy dose of paranoia. In an era when cybersecurity was an afterthought, a minor department within IT, I saw its burgeoning necessity. I saw the looming shadow of digital crime, the potential for vast, intangible wealth to be stolen with a few lines of malicious code. I tried to convince my superiors, but they dismissed my warnings as alarmist. So, in my late 20s, with a paltry savings account and a fierce belief in my vision, I struck out on my own. I founded Chronogard Security in a cramped, windowless office above a laundromat in downtown Richmond. My initial capital was a small loan against my mother's modest life insurance policy, a debt I repaid within a year. My first clients were small businesses, then mid-sized corporations, wary of the burgeoning, yet largely unregulated digital landscape. I worked around the clock, fueled by ambition and black coffee, building my reputation for unparalleled vigilance and an almost obsessive attention to detail. I was often the only woman in a room full of skeptical male executives, but my results spoke for themselves. I not only protected their assets, I often uncovered hidden vulnerabilities they never knew existed. Chronogard grew, expanding its services to include digital forensics, incident response, and eventually, proactive threat intelligence for government agencies and Fortune 500 companies. It was brutal, exhilarating, and every victory was hard-won. My husband Robert was a brilliant, eccentric theoretical physicist. He was a man of quiet brilliance, deeply immersed in the abstract world of quantum mechanics, a gentle soul who found solace in complex equations. He understood my drive, not always the specifics of my work, but the profound passion that fueled me. He was my calm harbor, my intellectual sparring partner, and the one person who could always make me laugh, reminding me that life existed beyond firewalls and data breaches. He was the grounding force in my life, anchoring me amidst the swirling chaos of entrepreneurship. Our daughter Isabelle was born amidst the hum of early servers and the scent of ozone from new hardware. She was a bright, curious child, with her father's thoughtful demeanor and my own sharp wit, though hers was often applied to the more immediate, tangible rewards and social intricacies of the human world. I poured my heart and soul into raising her, meticulously balancing the relentless demands of a rapidly scaling company with the fervent desire to be a present, loving, and supportive mother. I gave her every opportunity I never had: the best private schools, exclusive art lessons, international summer programs, believing that true wealth lay not just in financial security, but in a world of rich experiences and intellectual freedom. As Chronoguard Security soared, securing landmark government contracts for national defense and developing groundbreaking AI-driven threat detection systems, our lives became increasingly intertwined with the rarefied air of America's elite tech circles and old money dynasties. We moved from our modest Richmond home to a sprawling, custom-built estate in McLean, Virginia, a suburban fortress designed with my company's most advanced security features, complete with its own secure data center and a private lab for my most sensitive R&D. Robert, content with his academic pursuits, managed our philanthropic foundation, directing funds towards scientific research and STEM education. Isabelle, now in her late 20s, had blossomed into a stunning, fiercely independent young woman, charismatic and socially adept. She pursued a demanding degree in international relations, a path far removed from the intricate world of cybersecurity, but one I encouraged, always believing in her pursuit of happiness and personal fulfillment. I genuinely believed we had built an unshakable foundation, a fortress of love, trust, and shared success that would endure for generations. I was tragically, profoundly wrong. The first subtle cracks in my carefully constructed world, like insidious malware attempting to breach a secure network, appeared with the arrival of Markos into Isabelle's life. He was a man of striking, almost theatrical good looks, a chiseled jawline, piercing, intense gray eyes, and a perfectly tailored bespoke suit that seemed to cling to his athletic, imposing frame. He presented himself as a visionary fintech entrepreneur, a prodigy in the burgeoning field of blockchain-based secure trading platforms, constantly name-dropping influential figures in the financial world and boasting about multi-billion-dollar deals in obscure, unregulated markets. Isabelle, usually so sharp and discerning, was utterly, frighteningly captivated. She spoke of him with a starry-eyed adoration that made my internal alarms blare with a deafening cacophony. Something about him felt fundamentally off, too slick, too eager. His eyes, though mesmerizingly charming, held a cold, calculating glint that sent shivers down my spine, reminding me unsettlingly of the most cunning cybercriminals I'd outmaneuvered in the early, cutthroat days of Chronoguard. I'd always prided myself on my instincts, especially when it came to human deception. My gut screamed that Markos was a sophisticated con artist, a digital predator cloaked in designer clothes and a veneer of unassailable charm. I tried to voice my growing concerns to Isabelle gently at first, attempting to tread carefully on the fragile ground of a mother-daughter relationship. "He seems a little too smooth, darling," I'd ventured one evening over a strained dinner, a little too eager to impress. "What do you really know about his background, his actual track record. Isabelle bristled instantly, her jaw tightening, her eyes flashing with a familiar youthful defiance. "You always do this, Mom. You scrutinize everyone. He's brilliant, incredibly successful, and he loves me. Why can't you just be happy for me for once? Why do you always have to find fault?" Her fervent defensiveness only deepened my profound unease, confirming my worst fears. My husband, Robert, usually so astute and discerning in his own quiet way, was uncharacteristically charmed by Markos. Perhaps it was Markos's effortless flattery, his seemingly genuine, though superficial, interest in Robert's arcane theoretical physics research, or simply Robert's inherent, almost naive, optimism and his desire for his daughter's happiness. "He seems like a bright young man, Liv," Robert would say, his voice a gentle counterpoint to my rising alarm. "Isabelle's happy. That's what truly matters, isn't it?" His words, though undoubtedly well-intentioned and born of love, added another suffocating layer of isolation to my rapidly escalating suspicions. I felt like a lone sentinel, standing guard over a fortress whose unsuspecting inhabitants stubbornly refused to acknowledge the approaching storm, let alone the internal rot already taking hold. Driven by an acute sense of dread and my professional training, I began my own discreet, meticulous investigation. My network, painstakingly built over 3 decades in the hyper-competitive, high-stakes world of cybersecurity and intelligence, was vast, deep, and utterly loyal. I leveraged a covert team of my most trusted private investigators, forensic accountants, and crucially, a Black Ops unit of my top cybersecurity experts, all operating under the radar, their activities shielded by multiple layers of encryption and plausible deniability. What they uncovered chilled me to the absolute bone, turning my blood to ice. Markos Thorne was not his real name. His true identity was Markos Demetrio, a notorious, elusive, and incredibly dangerous international cybercriminal and corporate con artist, with a chilling history of preying on wealthy, unsuspecting families, particularly those with vast, vulnerable corporate assets. His supposed fintech startup was a sophisticated network of shell companies, his blockchain-based secure trading platforms nothing more than elaborate, deeply fraudulent schemes designed to siphon money, steal invaluable intellectual property, and launder illicit funds. He specialized in corporate espionage and hostile takeovers, often infiltrating families through marriage to gain unfettered access to their most sensitive digital assets, then systematically dismantling their businesses from within, leaving behind a trail of utterly shattered lives, bankrupt companies, and unrecoverable digital wreckage across multiple continents. The full, horrific realization hit me like a physical blow, an electric shock coursing through my veins. Not only was Isabelle in grave, existential danger, but Chronoguard Security, my life's work, our family's entire legacy, was now the primary target of a sophisticated, ruthless criminal enterprise. Markos Demetrio, under the expertly crafted guise of Markos Thorne, was meticulously planning an elaborate, insidious corporate takeover, leveraging Isabelle's trust, her emotional vulnerability, and her undisputed position as my only child, the heir apparent to the multi-billion-dollar empire I had built. My blood ran cold, but then, a familiar, ice-cold fire ignited deep within me, the same unyielding, an unquenchable fire that had driven me from that cramped office above a laundromat to the absolute pinnacle of the global cybersecurity industry. I would not, under any circumstances, allow this digital snake to dismantle what I had built, nor would I allow him to utterly destroy my daughter, even if she remained stubbornly, tragically blinded by his insidious charm. My life had prepared me for this battle. I would not lose. The moment of undeniable truth arrived, as it always does in these intricate games of deception, meticulously shrouded in false smiles, saccharine pleasantries, and an unbearable theatricality. Markos, under the pretense of discussing their future together and the supposed synergies between his fraudulent fintech firm and Chronogard, proposed to Isabelle during an exorbitantly lavish family dinner at our McLean estate. The engagement ring he presented was ostentatious, blindingly expensive, no doubt paid for with the stolen fortunes of his previous unsuspecting victims. Isabelle, absolutely beaming with a joy that twisted my gut, tearfully accepted. Robert, tragically oblivious to the insidious web of deceit, toasted their future with genuine, heartfelt warmth, his eyes shining with paternal pride. My heart ached with an almost unbearable pain, not just for the brutal impending battle, but for the naive, manipulated daughter I felt I was already losing to a darkness she could not yet comprehend. Over the next agonizing weeks, the game intensified, escalating with chilling precision. Markos, now emboldened as the future son-in-law and the supposed visionary partner, began to insinuate himself deeper and deeper into the intricate, highly sensitive operations of Chronogard Security. He started attending high-level executive meetings, asking incredibly pointed questions about our financial reserves, our most critical intellectual property, our advanced threat detection algorithms, and, most alarmingly, our key operational vulnerabilities and backdoors. He even audaciously suggested a comprehensive due diligence review of all company assets, citing imminent investment opportunities he was supposedly bringing to the table from his nebulous international partners. His audacity was breathtaking, a testament to his profound arrogance and his overestimation of my naivety. Isabelle, meanwhile, became his unwitting, yet frighteningly effective, accomplice, echoing his dangerous suggestions, passionately vouching for his supposed brilliance and business acumen, and growing increasingly distant, cold, and defiantly hostile towards me, convinced I was merely jealous of her burgeoning happiness and his perceived success. The rift between us widened into a chasm. One sweltering, humid afternoon in late September, Markos brazenly proposed a strategic merger between Chronogard Security and his primary shell company, Apex Nexus Global, which he fraudulently claimed was on the cusp of a revolutionary breakthrough in secure quantum computing for financial markets. It was an elaborate, thinly veiled attempt to gain controlling interest in Chronogard, siphon off our unparalleled intellectual property, drain our immense financial reserves, and ultimately use our legitimate infrastructure for his illicit cyber-criminal activities. He presented a stack of highly sensitive, intricately forged documents, contracts, meticulously fabricated financial statements, cunningly altered intellectual property licenses, and cleverly disguised shareholder agreements, all seemingly legitimate, all subtly altered with insidious clauses designed to transfer ownership, intellectual property rights, and even my own controlling shares to his undisputed control, while simultaneously saddling me with insurmountable debt, devastating legal liabilities, and absolutely no legal recourse. The entire scheme was a masterclass in sophisticated corporate fraud and cyber-economic warfare, breathtaking in its complexity, chilling in its predatory precision, and utterly ruthless in its intent. He fully expected me to sign, to surrender everything. I, however, had been meticulously planning my devastating countermove for months, ever since my private investigators had unequivocally confirmed Markos's true identity and the full, horrifying scope of his criminal enterprise. My elite legal team, led by my fiercely loyal and strategically brilliant general counsel Samuel Sam Albright, had been working in absolute secrecy, tirelessly constructing a watertight, irrefutable case against him. We had amassed overwhelming, undeniable evidence of his past frauds, his true criminal identity, his vast network of global shell companies, and his intricate, far-reaching web of digital deception, carefully mapping out his entire modus operandi. But I knew, with a certainty that resonated deep within my bones, that simply exposing him wasn't enough. I needed to ensure that Isabelle, blinded by his insidious charm and her own desperate yearning for validation, would finally, irrevocably see him for the monstrous criminal he truly was, and, more importantly, that Chronogard Security, my life's blood, would be irrevocably protected from any future attacks, both external and internal. My strategy was elegant in its simplicity, yet utterly devastating in its execution. I would give them just enough rope to meticulously hang themselves. For weeks, under the carefully orchestrated guise of comprehensive due diligence and preparing for the merger, I had my top-tier cybersecurity and digital forensics teams meticulously craft a series of decoy files. These files were perfect, meticulously detailed replicas of our most sensitive, critical data. Fabricated financial projections, non-existent patent applications for fictitious technologies, subtly altered client lists, and highly classified R&D schematics. But with one crucial, hidden difference. They contained deliberately embedded digital traps, intricate honeypots of traceable, irrefutable evidence, fictitious multi-million-dollar investments, non-existent, yet highly enticing, patents for revolutionary but fake technologies, and subtly altered, yet highly identifiable, financial figures that, if accessed or used by an unauthorized outsider, would instantly expose them as fraudulent, illegal, and, crucially, traceable directly back to Markos and anyone he involved. These were the fake files I mentioned, designed not just to lead Markos and Isabelle down a path of self-destruction, but to ensnare them beyond any hope of escape. I orchestrated a series of meticulously staged meetings with Markos and Isabelle, feigning reluctance, raising minor, easily dismissed objections, but ultimately, with a carefully practiced sigh of resignation, appearing to give in to their increasingly insistent demands for access to more proprietary data, more transparency for the supposed merger. I watched, with a cold, almost surgical fascination, as Markos's eyes glinted with unholy triumph, utterly convinced he had outmaneuvered me, the formidable Olivia Thorne. He pressured Isabelle to assist him in gathering these crucial documents, painting it as a way for her to prove her unwavering commitment to their future together, and to the new, progressive direction of Chronogard under their joint leadership. She, tragically, and with a heart-wrenching eagerness, fell for it, diligently compiling the decoy files, believing, with a crushing naivety, that she was actively helping Markos secure their opulent financial future. The irony was almost unbearable, a bitter taste in my mouth. My own beloved daughter, unknowingly helping a ruthless international con artist and cybercriminal steal from her own mother, using the very tools, the very traps, I had so painstakingly created to ensnare him. The critical day arrived. A seemingly innocuous Tuesday afternoon. I was in my fortified executive office, overseeing a mock data transfer operation, a flawlessly executed charade, as Markos, with Isabelle dutifully by his side, meticulously copied what they unequivocally believed were Chronogard's most valuable secrets, its very lifeblood, onto a series of highly encrypted, physically secured drives. He looked smug, radiating an almost palpable sense of victory. Isabelle, heartbreakingly, looked proud, almost defiant, as if finally proving her worth, her unwavering loyalty, by siding with him against me. My personal assistant, Miriam, a woman whose loyalty was beyond question and who was fully aware of the intricate plan, ensured no one else was in the vicinity, ensuring their perfect isolation. I watched them through the reinforced glass partition of my office, a quiet, almost surgical calm settling over me, masking the storm raging within. I remembered all the endless sacrifices, all the sleepless nights, all the dreams and the very essence of my being I had poured into building Chronogard. I remembered my late father's earnest blueprints, the scent of solder, and Robert's unwavering, gentle belief in my vision. And then I thought of the predatory, soulless gleam in Markos's eyes, the cold, calculating way he had so cruelly manipulated my unsuspecting daughter, the insidious way he sought to dismantle everything I had so painstakingly built to corrupt my legacy. The anger was no longer a searing flame. It was a cold, steady, unyielding steel. When they finally departed, triumphant, almost grotesque grins plastered on their faces, the encrypted drives clutched tightly in Markos's hand. I picked up the dedicated, secure phone line. "Sam," I said, my voice calm, steady, and devoid of any discernible emotion. "They've taken the bait. Initiate Phase 2. Execute with extreme prejudice." Phase 2 unfolded with devastating speed, precision, and an almost chilling inevitability. The decoy files, now firmly in Markos's possession, contained digital breadcrumbs and embedded tracking mechanisms that led my elite cybersecurity team directly to his sprawling network of offshore accounts, his vast, interconnected web of shell corporations, his hidden cryptocurrency wallets, and, most crucially, to the unencrypted, irrefutable data from his previous victims, a horrifying trove of past frauds, digital theft, and illicit activities, an undeniable digital trail of his entire criminal career. Simultaneously, my legal team, acting on my direct command, immediately filed an emergency injunction in federal court, freezing all of his known assets and initiating a barrage of criminal fraud charges, money laundering indictments, and corporate espionage lawsuits across multiple jurisdictions. In a meticulously coordinated move, my brilliant PR team, working hand in glove with our legal and security divisions, released a carefully orchestrated, absolutely devastating exposé to the global financial press, leading cybersecurity journals, and major news outlets. The article, titled "The Ghost in the Machine: How a Notorious Cyber Fraudster Attempted to Devour a Tech Empire from Within," went instantly viral, sending shockwaves through the entire financial and tech world, turning Markos Dimitriou's meticulously crafted public image into absolute rubble. The fallout was immediate, brutal, and absolutely catastrophic for Markos and anyone associated with him. Markos Dimitriou was apprehended by federal agents at a private airfield in Florida, attempting to flee the country on a chartered jet loaded with stolen assets. The news cycles were utterly dominated by his spectacular downfall, his carefully constructed facade crumbling into dust under the weight of overwhelming, undeniable digital evidence. His apex nexus global was exposed as a gargantuan, intricate Ponzi scheme, an affront for international cybercrime, its unwitting investors left in utter financial ruin, its reputation irrevocably destroyed. But the most painful, most agonizing, most soul-wrenching part of the fallout was, of course, Isabelle. She called me from a local police station, her voice fractured, disbelieving, riddled with a raw, visceral horror, a profound despair I had never, ever heard from her before. "Mom," she sobbed, her voice barely coherent, "they're saying Markos, he's a criminal, that I helped him. It's not true. Tell them it's not true. Tell them it's a mistake." My voice was quiet, steady, devoid of anger but steeped in a profound, weary sadness that permeated every syllable. "Isabelle," I said, each word a painful, unavoidable truth. "I tried to warn you. I gave you every opportunity to see who he truly was, to ask the difficult questions, to look beyond the surface. I gave you the chance to ask for proof, to scrutinize his claims. But you chose to believe him. You chose to side with him against me, against your own family, against the very company I built for our future, for your future." There was a long, excruciating silence on the line, broken only by her ragged, heartbroken breathing. "The files you helped him take? They were fake, decoy files, meticulously designed to expose him. You were an unwitting participant in his downfall, Isabelle. He used you. He played you. The line went dead. The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating, filled with the devastating echoes of a shattered trust, a broken family, a relationship torn irrevocably asunder. Robert, when he finally understood the full, horrifying extent of Markos's deception and Isabelle's unwitting, yet profound involvement, was utterly devastated, his gentle spirit crushed. He blamed himself endlessly for his own naivety, for not seeing it, for not supporting my initial chilling suspicions. It fractured our marriage, leaving a deep, gaping wound that, even years later, would ache with a quiet, persistent sorrow, a reminder of what we had lost. The aftermath was a whirlwind of legal battles, intense public scrutiny, and agonizing, solitary introspection. Chronoguard Security, though momentarily shaken by the scandal, emerged stronger, its reputation for unwavering integrity, cutting-edge innovation, and impregnable resilience cemented on a global scale. My deliberate surgical handling of the attempted hostile takeover became a widely studied case study in corporate defense, a masterclass in anticipating and neutralizing insidious threats. I made strategic, massive investments to fortify our already formidable cybersecurity infrastructure, implemented new, even more stringent protocols for internal data access, and appointed a brilliant, utterly trustworthy woman, Dr. Anya Sharma, who had been with me since my laundromat office days, as the new chief operating officer, a testament to her loyalty and intellect. Isabelle disappeared from public view for a significant period, overwhelmed by the crushing public shame. The legal implications, though I ensured, through my connections, that she was not formally charged, given her undeniable unwitting role, and the soul-crushing weight of her own profound naivety and complicity, I gave her space, though every single day was an agony of unanswered questions, profound sadness, and a mother's silent, aching worry. I hoped, truly, desperately hoped, that she would use this devastating, brutal experience to finally confront her inner demons, to understand the true nature of integrity, the fragility of trust, and the profound, enduring value of genuine ambition rooted in principle, not greed. I believed fundamentally that sometimes the harshest lessons are the ones that foster the deepest, most transformative growth. Months turned into a year, then 2, then 3. Chronoguard Security thrived beyond my wildest dreams, reaching unprecedented heights, launching groundbreaking, secure satellite constellations, and developing AI-driven defensive systems that promised to redefine global digital security for decades to come. I was at the absolute pinnacle of my career, celebrated, revered, a titan in my industry. But the victory, despite its scale, often felt hollow, tinged with the persistent, gnawing ache of a broken family, a damaged legacy. Robert and I maintained a polite, respectful distance, our shared history a bittersweet memory, our love a fragile, wounded bird. Then, one quiet, almost melancholic autumn afternoon, a small, unassuming package arrived at my private office. It contained a single, worn copy of The Art of War, a book Robert had given me when I first started Chronoguard, filled with his cryptic, yet insightful marginalia. Tucked inside was a handwritten letter, simple, direct, and utterly devoid of the artifice or entitlement I had grown to associate with her past. It was from Isabelle. She wrote of her time away, working anonymously as a crisis counselor for victims of cyber fraud in a remote, small town in Montana. She spoke of the painful, arduous process of rebuilding herself, of confronting her own materialism, her profound naivety, and the devastating consequences of her choices. She expressed a raw, profound remorse, not just for her actions, but for her profound blindness, for her tragic failure to see the truth, and for the deep, irreparable pain she had caused me, her mother. She admitted that the public humiliation, while agonizing beyond words, had been a necessary, brutal mirror, forcing her to confront the ugliness she had allowed into her life, the darkness that had almost consumed her. She didn't ask for forgiveness, or for a return to her old life, or for any kind of financial restitution. She simply asked for understanding, for a chance, someday, to earn back even a sliver of my trust. To prove that she had truly changed, she ended the letter with a single, poignant line, a profound echo of my own earlier words. "I'm learning to rebuild, Mom. Not what you built, but myself. I'm learning to truly protect, not just with code, but with integrity." My hand trembled as I read her words, her painfully honest confession. Tears, hot and unexpected, streamed down my face, blurring the ink. It was the first genuine crack in the emotional armor I had so meticulously built around myself in years. It wasn't a full reconciliation, not yet, but it was a beginning. A fragile, yet undeniably hopeful, spark in the vast darkness. I reached out to her. Not immediately, but after careful, agonizing consideration and many long solitary nights of reflection. Our conversations were tentative at first, filled with unspoken anxieties, an overwhelming weight of past hurts, and the awkwardness of navigating a new, uncharted emotional landscape. We talked about her work, about the profound empathy she was learning to cultivate, about the quiet, purposeful life she was painstakingly building. Slowly, agonizingly, painstakingly, a new kind of relationship began to emerge between us. One built not on expectation or inherited wealth, but on raw honesty, mutual respect, and a shared, desperate desire for genuine healing. I discovered that, in her humility, in her service to others, Isabelle had found a profound, quiet strength and a sense of purpose I had always wished for her. She had learned to appreciate things far beyond superficial wealth, to value integrity over illusion, and to truly see people for who they were, not for what they could offer. Years later, I made the decision to step down as CEO of Chronogard Security, transitioning into a deeply fulfilling advisory role, dedicating more time to our philanthropic foundation and to mentoring young women in STEM fields. The company was in excellent, capable hands, guided by the brilliant Dr. Sharma, who had become a true intellectual successor. Robert and I, through patient, difficult, and profoundly honest conversations, and a shared journey of profound healing, had found a fragile yet enduring peace, a renewed respect for the deep love that had once bound us. We spent our days quietly, enjoying the tranquil beauty of our fortified estate, taking long contemplative walks in our sprawling gardens, and occasionally sharing a meal with Isabelle, who now ran a highly respected nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting victims of cybercrime and educating vulnerable communities about digital security. My story isn't just about outsmarting a cunning international con artist or protecting a multi-billion-dollar company. It's about the relentless, often brutal, pursuit of truth, the profound, agonizing pain of betrayal from the very people you love, and the complex, arduous, yet ultimately transformative journey towards forgiveness, self-preservation, and the unwavering defense of one's integrity and legacy. My daughter's desire to hand over my life's work to a fraud, and my subsequent agonizing decision to allow her to take the very fake files that would expose him, was the most difficult, most heart-wrenching decision of my entire life. But, with the clarity of hindsight, it was also the most crucial, the most profoundly necessary. It forced her to confront her own dangerous blindness, her profound naivety, and it solidified my unshakable resolve to protect my legacy, not just financially, but ethically, morally, and structurally. I learned that sometimes the most profound acts of love are the hardest ones, the ones that require an almost brutal honesty, the ones that demand you allow loved ones to face the painful consequences of their own choices, to fall, sometimes catastrophically, so they may truly learn to rise, forged anew in the crucible of their own mistakes. I learned that true legacy isn't just about the empire you build, the wealth you accumulate, or the accolades you receive, but about the unwavering values you uphold, the unyielding integrity you maintain, and the profound lessons you pass on, even through unimaginable pain and seemingly insurmountable hardship. ChronoGuard Security stands as a beacon of innovation and integrity, a testament to my lifelong dedication and my unwavering belief in justice. But my greatest achievement, perhaps, is the fragile, yet fiercely authentic, connection I am slowly, patiently rebuilding with my daughter. A connection forged in the crucible of devastating truth, and a testament to the enduring, complex, and often painful power of a mother's love that sometimes requires the immense courage to let go, to sever the toxic, so that something truer, something purer, can finally take root and flourish. I built my empire with my own hands, protected it with my own mind, and in doing so, I finally learned the profound, liberating freedom of living a life dictated by my own unwavering principles, a life where even the most bitter betrayals can ultimately lead to unexpected, hard-won peace, and a legacy that transcends mere wealth to touch the lives of countless others.